You are track chair for the CI/CD track, which kind of dovetails nicely into that conversation. Talk to us about a little bit about what you're looking for as people think about, and we're going to get the call for speakers out here pretty soon. What kind of topics and ideas and maybe some of the issues you kind of could see on that.
Well, first, Tom, I have to say thank you for inviting me to do that. Really, it's an honor. I think what you do with this DevOps Online, how you structure it, is really fun. I found last year there was a lot of really good conversation after the talks, it being, in the way that you host it. So it's exactly what I want to be involved in, because it's about getting community to start talking about solving problems. It's about community getting together and saying, hey, this is the challenges that we're facing. How is how is somebody else solving it? What are the tools out there? Tool vendors love to talk to people, and oftentimes we like to shut the door on them because there's just so many people talking about tools, right?
Yeah.
And tools aren't always the solution, but there are some really interesting new tools coming out on the market that people should learn about. And this is a learning experience. So in terms of the track, I really want to emphasize right now is I think in 2021, 2022 will be a time of turmoil for everybody who's built a Jenkins pipeline and hoped that they would never have to touch it. It is going to change. Microservice is going to change the way you think. Mm-hmm. So there are two different areas that I'd like to see talks from. First of all, let's just back off of the cloud native and let's just talk about continuous delivery and what it is. Continuous delivery is an ecosystem. It's an amazing ecosystem, too, that includes testing tools, and it includes security scanning tools, and it includes package managing tools, and it includes configuration management tools, and it includes release automation tools. So I would love to be able to have, as part of this track, the full ecosystem represented. So if you have a background or experience in any of the disciplines that is called by the CD tool, not just the orchestration, but the pieces and parts that make an orchestration tool important, right? If we didn't have deployment tools and release tools and security scanning tools and package management tools, we wouldn't need an orchestration tool. And so orchestration, like Jenkins, is just the highest level. I want to be able to drive down and really represent the full ecosystem. Secondly, I'd like to see some talks from people who have experience and background, and what I'm talking about in terms of a microservice a pipeline or a cloud native pipeline. There are differences in how we do monolithic and how we're going to do microservices, and getting that information out to the community at large is important. I talk to people all the time, and a big shop right now who's really pushing microservices is about 90 microservices. If you think about where we're going, if you think about a Netflix or a Facebook or an Amazon, that we're talking 5,000 microservices.
Wow.
Everybody's going to be like the big players eventually. Mm-hmm. So we need to start thinking about how that pipeline changes. So I'd love to hear from some people who have started working on it, even if it's been a struggle, because failing is when we fail, we learn how not to do something, I remember Michael Jordan once said, somebody asked if he got frustrated when he misses a basket, because he never did, right? And he said, no, I just learned how not to do. I just learned what I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Which is just as important as learning what you should do, because you don't know what you shouldn't do until you've tried it. So failure projects are important too. There's no shame in it. It just means that you're exploring and you're going through a learning process. I'd like to see those too, because we don't see that enough. We always see this is perfect and how we succeeded in this, but I would love to see this is what we did. I'd like to hear some conversations on the difference between a poly repo and a mono repo when it comes to microservices. Are you breaking up your repo so each one has its own, each microservice has its own repo? What does that look like? Yeah. I would love to hear something about mono repos. How are you managing labels and tags inside of Git in order to track this stuff? Mm-hmm. What are the challenges of that? it would even be interesting to be quite honest, to hear from people who are from a DBA sector. How do database administrators see their role in the CD pipeline?
Yeah.
And as we move to changing things very, very quickly, how do they see their job changing? So any of those areas are areas that would be of great interest. And I also want to say, ladies, please apply. Please, we need more women front and center on these conversations. I know you're out there. I've spoken to you. Come and submit to talk. You will do fine. And I know some women have never done it before, and I would encourage anybody who has a story to tell and is a woman, please apply.
Yeah. Along with that, Tracy, I just want to point out there is a group called Women in DevOps, and we are, nothing's official yet. We've been discussing with them. They might have a panel. We might have a track. We're not sure, but just want to put that plug in for them because that's a good group out there too. And hopefully they'll be able to be part of the DevOps Summit.
You got to introduce me to those ladies.
I can do that. I can make an introduction, Tracy. Definitely.
That would be great because I'm surprised how many women are in this field. How we ended up in this field, I don't know, but there's two fields that I see women in tech. It's either DBAs or women in DevOps. There's a lot of site reliability engineers. There's a lot of Jenkins administrators. There's quite a few of us, and I'd love to meet some of my peeps, to be quite honest.
Yep. Excellent.